can I talk to you? Yeah, let me talk to my brother. We are still here, and we are going to be talking to a lot of Liberians. Good morning. Good morning. What's your name? Just please call me your full name. What's your full name? And let's talk. Yeah. What's your full name?
My name is Abel.
I will count them, man. All right. Your name Abel King?
Yeah.
Abel, how are you? What are you doing? You here Sunday morning, my man. You come back food?
I come from taking exercise. I come back to go for my late pursuit.
Oh, you going to call your late pursuit?
Yeah.
But why? You not get woman to the hall? Anyway, sometimes it's good for you to exercise yourself.
Yeah, I get family, but when I go exercise,
yeah.
Sometimes me your police, Julia Gel.
That listen to your Gel, man. They make an exercise good set up. My man, they make a photo exercise. They make
I want to see you there.
You can be behind the man, mama. But look at my stomach. You can be lying. And you see on the TV, the man can lie. They say my copy. Let me hear my corner pick. But how is life? How is everything going?
Well, life, correct, without strength, progress, that everything there for us in Liberia. One of the major things is peace.
Yeah, we got peace.
We got peace. People going on their normal business. As you can see, I'm a member of the rescue corps.
Oh yeah, I see Joseph Boaka share. Oh, I just realized it.
We are member.
You are member of the rescue government.
Yeah.
So you disagree with the other guy. The guy said things are hard. The man said he used to make 25,000 that job we have done Christmas a day. But the man said now he's just making 10,000 and now he's really going good.
Really, even though I'm a member of the rescue government, but we believe in reality.
Yeah.
Sometimes I know in the opposition is talking opposition with other people talking government with.
Yeah.
But for we, the rescue people, we can see, we say, oh, they won't correct.
All right. So what is correct? What is your government doing that correct?
Number one, as I told you from the beginning, stability.
Yeah.
Yeah. And second, current issue.
Electricity.
Electricity. I want to tell the government, even though they got to do more, expand a different era.
Yeah.
For the electricity, my brother, we really enjoying. Can you imagine?
You enjoying the current.
The previous year,
Mary said enjoying the current. I watch it smile for.
Reality about the government, the electricity. There current go, you believe that current will come.
Yeah.
So enjoying electricity.
Yeah.
Enjoying peace.
Okay. What the basa of your government? Is there any basa you see?
Yeah,
what the basa
about my government, to be real, we all the government challenge on the bread and butter issue.
What the bread and butter issue?
The bread and butter, in a simple form, we say bread and butter that is economy.
All right.
Yeah, the money now
real floating. You're not changing hands.
For us, we speak enough. Yeah, not really.
I want you to face the camera.
Case. Yeah. It's not really in my case.
Yeah.
But one of the things that happen in the government are the peace and other things that happen with some other.
But you think the government, the bread and butter issue, they're not straight here?
Yeah.
When you say bread and butter, break it down. What do you mean now? Because other people say, but the price of bag already reduced, gasoline price reduced, and so what you call bread and butter not settled here?
Yes. And one of the things I would commend the government. Gasoline press, the back of red. And I say, now I'm going back, can you worry? Yes, I'm very happy to have my going.
So then why are you still talking about bread and butter issue?
The bread and butter, which means the economy, which means the way the money can circulate.
All right.
Yeah, people got to get job, people on a job, people to get money a hard. But yeah, to get money a hard. But government needs to do something for the economy. People sitting down. People do the work.
A lot of people not working.
And when people work, they will take that money, they bring it to this store. They can't, when I bring it here, other person carrying it, when he beats it, and I ain't know the government. So I want for my president to work on the bread and butter issue. But team person are done. But team person can be done, then you can get money to buy it. Yeah.
No can. All right, thank you so much. You say your name again.
Abel King.
Abel King is.
Government work towards it. And I know they will do it.
All right. Abel King is a Unity Party man. Yeah. He says there are things that are improving in the country, LEC and other things, but he said no, Clarence. The real bread and butter issue, the government
Christmas
needs to...
celebration. But guess what? We are here in the compound of the most talked about 4-year presidential villa. And the president, His Excellency Joseph Boakai, is here to tour. He's here to do a site view So this is the villa. Let me take you one of the bedroom.
I love you. Each of these has 6 bedrooms. President one, a 6 bedroom. Yes, the conference center. They're private.
So he's now heading to the conference center. As you can see, these apartments are they are separate, and so here comes the president. It takes up to 600 persons.
All the furniture, the villas, and the seat for the event hall, these are all the materials. So this is the hall here. We have general toilet facilities for people here. And then we have VIP meeting rooms. So when leaders come, general meeting, let me just show you one of them. We have 3 VIP meeting rooms.
VIP meeting rooms. 600 plus individuals can come in here.
So this is we have 3 of these in line. We each of them have their own toilet in it here. Private meetings. Private meetings here. There's the same thing, 3 of those that we have. And it's an exit door. There's an old building we're using and also as a warehouse. We'll finish with breaking it down. And at the other end, we have the industrial kitchen, where they have a program, you don't have to bring food. They brought all the materials.
The conference hall, where if a president comes with his entourage,
And the furniture for all the villas, the ones who bring the touch up, then you want to come and then set up. This is our Eddie. The young man who has been here from day 1 as an engineer. How are you?
Thank you. What kind of climate control?
Give you all necessary support. I'll get that protection. Mr. President, thank you for giving us the opportunity. Just like we never supported you during your election, but you brought us closer. Thank you. And today, Mr. President, one thing I can talk about, I feel more happy and secure in your administration than previous administration. We continue to see for the level of work you have done in most of our country, the 4 link leading to the whole other side. I voted for it. And Mr. President, thank you. That road will lead to from Motorado County to Go Waterside. And all of those other development in the county, the lighting, first time in the history of Liberia since the civil crisis, since 50 years, is this president that took electricity to Benton City, the capital city of Motorado County. When I went and talked to him, I said, Mr. President, there is no electricity in Benton, the capital city of Motorado. He was shocked that there's no electricity in Benton. And when that order was given today, the first time the children are seeing electricity. Since 50 years, they can see electricity today. Mr. President, we want to encourage you that electricity to touch the Tony. From Benton to Tony, it's very short. 300 posts, we already got electricity in Tony. very short distance. Yeah. So the former caucus chairs know what you're talking about. But I want to say thank you for the unity. We can now come home in our county. You don't want to come back where there's confusion.
Yeah, so we just passed Atia. We started 25 minutes after 8 o'clock. By 11 o'clock, we went to Atia. Past Atia now, we are hitting Grand Basso. This is the road. Tessil, Lencuzo, everybody doing their best on this road. And September rainy season, the road is still better. So we use probably 5 hours to leave Greenville, Sino County to Grand Basso, Buchanan City. We use 5 hours. That's our anticipations, and we are pushing for Grand Basso right now. We left Atia, and we are on the highway, and between the Grand Basso's area. So thanks to the Ministry of Popular Works, thanks to the government. That's a good progress, and we don't like seeing our dream, our vision is to see this road get quota, and make it easier for our people in the southeast. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Some people believe that no matter what happened, I want to read to you, let me have my phone, a message I read that was sent to somebody by a sedition, and from sedition to unity partisan, because from the start I thought JNB was a joker. But what I'm seeing now, just in a short period of time, I think JNB is a heaven sent. It said whatsoever transformation that is taking place in JNB government is for all Liberians. So I have no regrets. This is exactly what Thomas Farah is telling you. We see good things, we support them, not GMB in particular, but we support a good cause for the future of all of these people. And that's what we're going to do. So today we are celebrating a decision that is intended to bind this country, to put this country together, to create oneness in the people so that we can develop.
Class Reloaded, the #1 online show that brings the truth. Showcasing J&B and JKK progress all across the country.
The Class Reloaded, we are online every day. Showcasing progress the Liberian way.
Well,
JMB and JKK, they're making the way. The Class Reloaded, we're shining today. Oh.
From Monrovia City to the other counties, development talk shake the country. We talk the truth, we don't lie. The rescue mission making people smile. Roads getting better, schools better, electricity stable, no more hoping. We see the change, we see the light. Unity Party doing things right. Who talk the facts?
The Class Reloaded.
Who bring the vibe?
The Class Reloaded.
Support development.
The Class Reloaded.
Who better rise again?
Oh yes we can.
Who talk the facts?
The Class Reloaded.
Who bring the vibe?
The Class Reloaded.
Support development.
The Class Reloaded.
Who better rise again?
Oh yes we can. The Class Reloaded, we are online every day.
Every day.
Showcasing progress the Liberian way.
Well, JMB and JKK, they're making the way. The Class Reloaded, we shining today. Turn up the sound, let the people dance. Liberia progress, we get the chance. No fake news, we bring the proof. The Class Reloaded, always in the booth. From social media to the street corner, everybody talking about the new order. Respect to the hosts, they keeping it real. Liberia future, that's the deal. The Class Reloaded,
Truth.
Liberia rising,
Progress.
JMB and JKK,
Develop.
the rescue mission, we move soon.
The Class Reloaded.
True.
Liberia rising.
Progress.
JMB and JKK.
Develop, the rescue mission, we move soon.
Hey, class, welcome to the show. What's going on here? What's going on? Oh, there we go. I think it was something else that I did do. Merry Christmas, all the people that we miss. We have begun inching towards 2026. If you still got your health, you still got families who love you, you stay around the people who love you, continue to thank God. Welcome to the show, guys. We are inching towards 2026. Liberia continues to get better. Welcome to the show. Today is December 26th. Can you imagine 2025 is literally gone? It has come and gone. It's time to gauge yourselves. What did we achieve over the last 12 months or so? What has Liberia achieved? What have you achieved personally? We want to say a big shout out to the radio stations across the country. Thank you for joining us. Punch FM 106.7. Thank you so much for relaying Bourgeois Radio all the way out there in Monrovia. We say thank you very much. Those of you guys who are listening in Grand Bassa County, in Lofa, in Bon, in Grand Jita, Nima, Margibi, and Sano County. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. It's not a lot to talk about today. A lot of great things happening in the country. We're just going to do a few videos that I uploaded. It's a little internet buzz with the issue around Liberia. And those of you guys who are joining us, man, yes, Merry Christmas, Jerry Wires. Merry Christmas, my brother. Comfort, grateful. Merry Christmas to you. All across Dama, Bassett is watching from Southeast Asia. Welcome to the show. Hawa, Evelyn Golakai. How are you doing, Mama? What's up with you? Former MCZ, welcome. Winfred D.T. Dubber. Helen Tokba, Malan Tokba. Merry Christmas to you as well. How are you doing, wherever you're watching from? I see Jacob T. Foco Jr. How are you doing, my brother? Ala Corwell. Welcome to the show. Mohammed Khaled is watching from Jamaica Road, Basel Town, Monrovia. Welcome to the show all across the country. We're just going to be talking, making some fun here tonight, and just try to chat with you guys a little bit. Samuel B. Miguel. Mr. Miguel, what's going on? Everything Liberia social media boss. Welcome to the show. Momo Kroma, Mr. Kroma, how are you doing? All of you too, Benjamin. Sankali, I believe that's the name. 8105. Welcome to the show, my brother. Royce Draper. Mr. Draper is always out of Pennsylvania, out of Philadelphia. Big shout out to you guys there in Philly. How you guys doing? Emmanuel Z. Davis is watching from Algeria. The Algerian parliament just passed a new legislation. They want to criminalize colonialism and they want the French to pay them. I agree with them entirely. Moses K. Ross, how are you doing? Clement Wright, Mr. Wright, what's going on with you? Mohammed Kamar, Aaron F. Siafa, Mr. Siafa, what's going on, my brother? Welcome. Audrey Tyre, 7135. Welcome to the show, Audrey. Benedict B.S. Stewart, Mr. Stewart is watching out of South Dakota. Welcome to the show. Semi Duama, Mr. Duama, how are you doing? Welcome to the show. I'm watching a few videos on social media. And the biggest one amongst them was this Ghanaian prophet. I know a bunch of you guys have seen this. And I want us to talk about it very briefly here tonight, about the issue of religion in Liberia, in Africa as a whole. But I want to focus on Liberia, about the issue of religion in our society. Somebody said, remove the money out of the churches, and most churches will break down. Remove the offering and anything that has to do with money, and most of the churches will break down. I just want to play this brief video about what happened in Ghana. I know if this was happening in Liberia, the same effects will apply. We have to understand sometimes what we do to us. Let me play the 30-second video out of Ghana.
As I speak to now, many Ghanaians don't carry their load, carry their bag all the way to this man act to enter, so that by 25th of December, which is few hours from now, they will not be swept away by flood. My people, now waiting these prophets, what they call Ebo Noah, they do for inside Ghana. Hey, a minute silence for people who no get sense. Hey, yeah. Nothing go pay me pass if at the end of 25th of December.
Now, look what the pastor did with the money. And Jamil Sa, you're absolutely right. This is one of the messages we got to put out there. People should not support a political party because of what they are going to get from that political party. I agree with you entirely. You should support a political party that has a vision to transform your country. And this is the message we should be putting out there. Jamil Sa, you're absolutely right. But I want to dwell back on the video that I just showed you. In Liberia, they got people in the country that will respect pastors more than their own husbands. You respect pastor more than your husband. A responsible pastor will tell you, no, don't ever come and respect me. Do what your husband said, not what I say. The other way is in reverse. People will respect the pastor more than their own wives in the country. We get our priority out of whack. This pastor tells people there was a flood coming. He was building, I believe, 6 Noah's Ark, and people should give him money so they can buy food. He was building the giant ark, and people all over the country, in fact, other parts of West Africa, they gave money to this man. They called him a prophet. A few months back, the same thing happened in Uganda. They said there was a rapture about to take place, and people were willing to be lifted out of, poverty does a powerful thing. In Liberia, one of the reasons why we are not developed is because we believe in superstition. We believe God will descend from the heavens and come down to Liberia to save you. That's what most of us believe. And we go to church heavily. On Sunday, you go to Liberia, the churches are packed. But when you go to the Potato Garden, nobody there. God hates you when you believe in miracles that you cannot support. God hates you when the pastors in the country dress in three-piece suit and the members look like they're from Ethiopia. When we were boys, you remember they found me. I'm not talking about today's Ethiopia, where there was a drought in parts of Eastern Africa. The people that you could see their chest, they boom. In Liberia, we put all the hope in a pastor. They making you get on some money and say he's men of God. And all of you following. The pastor went and bought himself a Mercedes Benz with the people money that they gave him because he said God said there was a new flood coming to wash away all the sins on earth. He was building an ark. People told her low, Ghana must go bare in the thousands, willing to go get on an ark. Look, we a Christian country. We are a Christian country. I don't want you to forget that. I'm not saying you should not believe in your God, but you should not allow religion to guide what your morality becomes in the country. All we do in Liberia nowadays, we hope and pray. Let me tell you something. Prayers have never gotten anything done if that prayer is not coupled with action. I want you to look to the Bible. There is not a single miracle in the Bible that was not coupled with action. Look to any miracle in the Bible. When Moses struck the rock and water came out, he had to physically hit the rock. God instructed him to. You need any miracle in the Bible. It's coupled with an action. There is nothing in the Bible that anybody received just blindly. Something had to have been done before that receive came about. This is why we confuse this thing in Liberia. I see people in the country will pray. When they go into the U.S. Embassy, they go fast and pray. Let me tell you the easiest way for you to get what you want from God. I know people don't want to believe this, but the Bible bears this out. The easiest way to get what you want from God is to treat your fellow man the way you want to be treated. I'm not kidding. It's in the Bible. I don't quote Bible verses. I tell you the way the Bible is greeted in totality. I have 3 books here in my library. I have the Torah, I have the Quran, and I have the Bible. I try to read them, all 3 of them, for a reason. There is none of those books. There is no miracle in any one of those books without you doing something to make sure it happens. God said you can move mountains if everything has a condition in the Bible. But we've taken this concept of religion in Liberia. You will get pastors in the country. Whenever there is an election, you will get Nigerian pastors, Ghanaian pastors, Liberian pastors. They would take one political leader or somebody who's vying for a political office and say, God said that they may elect. That is not true. There is no way in the Bible it does that. There are pictures, for instance, you get representatives that will go to a so-called church and the pastor will get small money from them and then they will pray. They say, God said that they may elect. That's a criminal. That is not a pastor. That is a criminal. Any church you go to, look, I'll tell you a story. I'm not going to say the church name. I went to a church in Liberia, and I love to visit. One of the reasons why I don't give churches in Liberia money anymore, what I do, if I come to your church and I see the church need a new window, I will go to that church and say, listen, I will put a window there for you. If I see the church need 5 bags of cement for them to build the pulpit, I will go there and buy the 5 bags of cement. I don't give church money anymore in Liberia. There's a reason why. It's a bunch of reasons why. But I'll tell you one of the primary reasons. There was a young girl, maybe 26 years old. She has a daughter and she lives in a lady's house. She could not afford her rent. Her rent was $15 for the one room she was renting from this lady. And for 6 months, she could not pay the rent. And she was so afraid every time she sees the landlord, she will run away. And I was just visiting the church that day. I pick a random church I'll go to visit the church. And the landlord told us, oh, mama, they rent been giving you a hard time. Say I got 4 rooms here. I want you to be the overseer for the place. Make sure you cut the grass in the place. Make sure the bathroom stay clean. Make sure you take care of the place. Anything happening here, you let me know. I will waive your rent and you will live here for free. You and your daughter until you can help you. You start making money and you will start paying me. This girl was so excited. She went to her church to give a testimony of what has happened to her. God has blessed her in this fashion. A young woman that doesn't have to sell her body to be able to live in this facility. The landlord told us, hey, listen, You will live your rent free, but just make sure you call the grass around the place. You make sure you keep this place up. I mean, keep this place properly, and I will waive your rent while you're living here until you can get on your feet to be able to do something. She was giving this powerful testimony in the church, and I was so excited for her. When she got done, the pastor stood up and said, "That's a good blessing. The money that he's supposed to pay for that rent, sow seed with that rent. Find that money. Mind you, that's $15 times 6. This girl could not afford to pay her rent now. The pastor telling her after the testimony that the girl will go look for the money and can't sow seed with it so God can bless her some more. I was thinking that the church now will have a special offering to put together to give to this member of this church to help her because she has a daughter. They say, "Oh man, we raised the $100 US for you to be able to start a live market." No, the church was telling the girl to come sow seed after she gave this testimony. That's the wickedness I'm talking about in Liberia there. This young lady told you part of pacing, she didn't even have it. She could not even afford rent for 6 months. She was hiding from the landlord. The landlord was willing, nice and calm. This lady told us, "Hey, listen, young woman, I was a young girl myself. They play at my husband built, they played before my husband passed away. Say you're living, they've been living in the 1-bedroom here until you get on your feet. But in the meantime, be cutting grass around the place." The girl comes to the church to give a testimony. They said now she must go find the money that she did not have to come now and sow seed. That's what we do in Liberia. You see the pastor, then the living large. Pastor will come to a congregation and say, "All of you in the church here, you're shameless." In Nigeria, the people can donate their cars to the pastor. The people can donate. You got to raise money and buy car for the pastor to be coming to church while all the members then walking. Most of the churches in Liberia, they don't even have, churches here in the West, they get factories. Churches own apartment buildings. Churches own banks. In fact, they're part owners of banks. Churches can build factories so the member can go work in the factory. So when you're collecting offering and the church open a huge garment factory where most of the women can go work in that garment factory, the church will grow. But in Liberia, the pastor will take that money and he build big hell of a mansion for himself. He holier than thou. I'm not going to call name. But when I say some of the story, there were pastors in Liberia. They would take all the old shoe and they bring it to the church. And they made people almost like they're bidding on their shoe, because if you wear the pastor's shoe, you're walking in glory. The pastor is elevating you. There are church mothers in Liberia. They will buy swamp land. They will make young women haul dirt in that swamp. And then they will use the money and then they build an apartment, 1 bedroom, then they rent it back to the practitioners of that church. And this is supposed to be okay. I want you to listen to me, young Liberians, especially the women in Liberia. Especially the women in Liberia. Your glory is not in the church. Your glory is with your family, your husband, your children. I'm not saying you shouldn't go to church. You cannot go and pray to a pastor while you leave your home vacant. You're going to destroy your family. You're going to destroy the future of your children. Your leader is your husband. Men, the partner that you should share everything with is your wife. Not to know church, not to know pastor. The church is an organization in our society to help guide the moral structure of that community. It's not to make the pastor rich so he can travel around and feel like he be shot. That's what people were doing in Ghana, all around Africa. That's what we are now growing. If any church tells you that the money they're raising is only meant for the pastor's upkeep, you tell him, say he's a liar, don't give him your money. Take your money, you'll put your money together the way they do it in the West, and you'll build your garment factory. So all of you can go to work there. The church is supposed to build factory. Yes, the church is supposed to build school, not for the pastor, but the church, for the school, for the members of that church to be able to go to that school at a huge discount because they funded the school. Every single church in Liberia now, what they do is they build a school, and the school belongs to the pastor. And the pastor behaves like he's doing them a favor. And then the pastor get rich in the process. Do you all understand that the pastor is not supposed to own the church? Any church that is owned by the pastor is not a real church. It's a business. Let me talk again. Any church in Liberia that is owned by the pastor, where the congregation cannot fire the pastor from that church, it is a business. It's not a church. Let me repeat this. If you get church in Liberia, and that church not for the people who are in the church, not for the practitioner, not for the church member, the people who own the church, it's not for the church member, but if for the pastor, that is not a church, that is a business. That means the pastor making your post to him so he can eat and live a good life. The church does not belong to the pastor. The church belongs to the community. When I was a boy in Buchanan, the church is owned by the community. It's owned by an organization. It's owned by the Baptists. It's owned by the Methodists. It's owned by the Episcopalians. It's owned by the Catholics. So they can fire the pastor from over that church. If the pastor is not doing the right thing, the congregation, the deacon board can fire the pastor because he does not own the church. But nowadays, the pastor get a church, and the pastor get the school, the pastor own everybody in that place, the pastor own the car, he the big man. Do you know why everybody in Liberia want to get a church? Because when the other men own the church, they want eating, the other men say, but my one I've been suffering on me, I'm going to open another church too. So let me go and open another church, But normal days, the Methodist organization builds the church. It's owned by the organization. They elect a pastor or they select a pastor to come and administer God's will in that church. He's leading a flock on the Methodist organization where he's promoting the organization. Some other went to SDA school. It was built by the SDA organization. It was not built by an individual. Nowadays, the individual builds the church. He believes that those that he owns the church. Now, all the women and all the money they carry to the church. The church is not your husband. The church is not your husband. Your leader is your husband. The church is not your husband. I don't know how long for what to take for you to understand this. You'll go to the church. You'll do everything in the church. You'll sit down in the church. In Liberia, people are going to church 7 days a week. 7 days a week. What time you can't get time to become industrial or build or have your potato green farm? You're not supposed to go to church more than 2 days a week. Sunday, you go to church. The other days, you're supposed to be working to be able to feed yourself because miracles are not going to happen. Maybe you're in the choir, you can go for choir practice, but we are spending more time in the church than we are actually being industrious to develop Liberia. There is nothing wrong with believing in God, but there is something inherently wrong if you allow religion to guide what you do in your daily life. Do you know there are women in Liberia today, they will go to the hall and put food in bowl and say they carry it to the pastor hall? Thank you, Rose. They call the pastor daddy. I want my wife to call me daddy. My wife should look to me for everything, not to some pastor. And this has nothing to do with jealousy of any kind. But sometimes we confuse the two of them. When you are doing that, you're creating division. We have fragmented our community. We cannot build a society if the person we're supposed to be looking to as the head of our community, the head of the household, to be able to build a structured family, to push forward Liberia customs and traditions. We go to this place. Most of them don't go to seminary. Anybody can get her and say, God, call me. Man, I met a God. God calling me. That's not how God calls people. It's bigger than that. Look, and also too, we won. Honorable Nanuga, welcome to the show, brother. And I want you to understand this. Huh? What's going on? Honorable Nanuga, are you on it? Oh, there we go. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. I don't know if you want to charm me a little bit. Yeah, they call the pastor Papa, Daddy. You call my wife and go to some kind of pastor, and you call the pastor Daddy. You must say, I get serious problem with you. Nonsense. You can go, look, respect your pastor, honor your pastor to the extent as your religious leader. There's nothing wrong with that. But you're not cooking food, you're going to the pastor to go while the pastor clothes. You're going to the pastor farm to go brush your pastor farm. What do you wrong with no farm? My wife, my country, you'll be brushing your farm for wedding. We got to get it right. We got to build community. This church is an organization of morality in our society. The moral structure, the moral definition of our community is led by a man with distinction, a man that is an example. He might not tell you that nonsense, do what the pastor say, but not what the pastor do. That means that I'm pastor. I want him and I'm whole. Nanuga, welcome to the show, brother. How everything with you, man? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, man, and Happy New Year in advance.
Yes, sir.
I had a beautiful Christmas with all the children.
That's good. That's very good.
Rolling around, they send me to the supermarket more than 4 times. And when I say I go in, they say, but we're going together.
4 to 4.
Anyway, listen. So many things are ongoing. You can see what's happening from one point to the other in Lofa. And the announcements flying from one part of the country to the other and one part of the world, as if Liberia is the only country that is existing right now.
But that's what it should be for us. The only country that is existing for me. If you want Liberia will be the only country. I won't lie to you.
Now let's talk about your topic. The topic you mentioned, brother. When I used to rap or my people used to talk, I don't care. What? You see, pastor, that papa, that daddy,
yeah,
that bishop, that everything good. In fact,
yeah.
when you go
no politics today. We're talking politics today, but go ahead.
When you go greeting, you kneeling down.
Can you imagine?
But your husband, when he say Mary, he say shut up.
Yeah. Yeah, they had a husband. He's going to raise a voice at a husband.
I'm not feeling too well. I want pepper soup at 10 p.m. That pepper soup I can't cook at this time because you say you're sick.
Yeah.
But after that, the number at 12 midnight.
They will go.
Mary, she forgets she just insulted her husband. Can you take me to the pastor's house? Papa won't eat. Papa's not well. Forgetting to know that Papa's self got to kneel and pray to God. Why you yourself can't kneel and pray to God? That's why I love Pastor Dunami in Nigeria. He will just go to the Bible, take the thing that makes sense, and say, "Yo, take it." They tell you, say, tie that force. This is what the Bible say. Because it's so funny on how I want to laugh here. Who telling you that they telling you how to worship? I just tell you that my wife or my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Should not take my money and please the pastor money. I mean, simple.
And all my before you go ahead, my brother in my car, I just want to make this comment. Seminary and calling are different. This is not true. If you want to preach to somebody, you must know more about what you're preaching. Seminary is not a requirement, but it's a preparation. If I want to become a farmer, I have to learn a lot of things to become a good farmer, to yield fruit. The seminary is a requirement. If you want to become a doctor, you got to go to medical school. It doesn't mean you have to. God can call you, but you still got to prepare. Look to the Bible. Look, anybody in the Bible who are not prepared, like God call. They did a lot of reading, but go ahead, on about Nanuga.
But let's look at it this way.
Yeah.
If we're talking about all this one we want to talk about, let somebody tell me if I'm wrong. What does Ephesians 6 say from verse 1? Ephesians 6 from verse 1 says, and I quote for anybody to argue me, children, obey your parents in the law, for this is right.
Yeah.
That's the first verse. The second one says, honor thy father and thy mother, which is the first commandment with a promise that thy days shall be long. But it then went on and said, fathers, do not exacerbate your children.
Yeah.
Instead, bring them up in the way that they will not depart from it by following God's instruction. What did they say about wives? What did they say about husbands to wives? They didn't put anything there. Say, wives, obey your pastors over your husbands.
Simple. Thank you, LB.
It says wives should heed and pay homage to their husbands.
There's a reason. There's an order.
For this is right in the sight of the Lord. It didn't go nowhere. That's why when they talk about seminary and calling, Brother Kai may be right in a particular way with Dualu. Many people go to seminary because they believe it's their profession they want to take up, preaching. But it may not be their calling. Let me give you something. The other day I was speaking on Joshua chapter 1 verse 8. 1 verse 8 says, this book of the law shall not depart from thy mouth, but ye shall meditate upon it day and night without ceasing. And having done all therein, your way shall be prosperous, and you shall have good success. He did not say it for pastor. He didn't say it for women. He didn't say it for men. He says for all humans. That was what instruction that was given to man. But God, there were 3 phases in that verse. The first one is, 4 phases. The first one says, this book of the Lord shall not depart from thy mouth. First instruction. The second one, ye shall meditate upon it day and night without ceasing. The third one, having done all therein, your way shall be prosperous. And the fourth one, and you shall have good success. So for every time God gives an instruction on how to worship and how to keep yourself whole and safe, he made promises as to what you will earn from doing that. And that's why he made other promise in verse 9. He says, have I not commanded thee, be bold and of good courage? Be not afraid, nor be thou dismayed, for I'm your Lord, your God. Wherever you go, and whatever thou doest, I shall be there. He didn't give that promise to the pastors for the children. He gave it to everybody to follow and get Christ in their lives.
Let's go back and forth. Let's go back and forth because our audience are engaged.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Let's go back and forth. I want people to understand something. Look, I'm a Christian, and there is nothing wrong with us. One of the reasons, I think somebody said, oh, Dwalu, let's leave it. Let's focus on our politics. Let's leave that. Look, one of the reasons why we sit on this platform is to reshape the way society thinks. We have to improve Liberia. This is no attack against any pastor or any kind. But if we have a society that get things out of whack, when we talk about it, we ought to make adjustment now. It doesn't mean what I'm saying is entirely right. I want you to weigh. Do you believe that our focus in Liberia should be going to church 6 days a week and whole day in Liberia we just go to church but we don't produce anything? The Bible frowns upon that. God wants you to work 6 days and then the 7th day you come and rest and you do that. The point we're trying to make is our focus in Liberia, it seems, is more on pastors than actually focusing on spirituality. I want you to have your oneness with God. It's a suggestion. But your oneness should not be with your pastor, so to speak. Your pastor is a guy, he's a shepherd, to shepherd you on. Bringing this stuff up is not a criticism against the church or against any individual pastor. It's for society to get better. If you cannot understand the distinction between the two, then I cannot help you. What about Nanuga? Just say only, I will highlight some of the topics so we can talk about it. I mean, some of the comments, because I wanted to be engaged. We have to fix Liberia in totality, not just all politics, but sometimes morality too. Because if we fix morality, we tend to grow quicker as a society. How about Nanuga?
So, if you look at Proverbs, and if you look at Ephesians, and if you look at Thessalonians, 2 Thessalonians, there's something unique about those 3 books. Do you know what it said? The Bible speaks extensively about laziness, portraying it as what? Foolishness, leading to poverty and hunger, and spiritual emptiness. That's what it says about laziness. Because tell me, if you are hungry, how can you concentrate on the message? But there's a contrasting to what the Bible says about hard work. It says, with diligence, hard work, and using one's gifts for God's glory. With the teachings from Ephesians, from Proverbs, it says, you will be purposeful and you will avoid living to be idle. Let's be honest. How can you say you want to get comfortable, but you spend 18 hours in a day for 30 days in the church fasting and praying? When that same 30 days, 18 hours in a day, the other country next door is teaching the people how to be apprentices to repair cars and other things. What stopped you from praying to God in the workshop and at the same time for 30 days?
Pray without ceasing. There is no location. The church is your body. Look, sometimes I'm not a pastor. I don't preach, I don't quote Bible verses, but I just give you intakes of the Bible. Because my thing when I do with the Bible, I study the Bible, but I don't read the Bible to quote Bible verses. In fact, in the Bible, it says this. Let me paraphrase. Maybe some of the pastors here can give me the Bible verse. If a man cannot feed his family, he's almost worse than a pagan. The reason why that is being said, because you're expected to work. You expected to work. The point I'm trying to make here tonight, we are forgetting that it's a requirement for us to develop. We must work to develop and not expect miracle or manners to fall from heaven. For too long, we expect manners to fall from heaven, and we think that's going to transform our lives. Our women are spending so much time in the churches. So much time in the churches, and the pastors are leading them to a point where, and there's a reason why the seminary is also important. When you go to the seminary, it prepares you for leadership, to lead a flock, not just to come and regurgitate Bible verses to your audience, someone they cannot fully understand. Why don't the churches have a apartment complex in the country? Why aren't the churches building or seamstress factories in the country, where the collaboration of few churches across our country say, let's 17 churches come together, we pool our resources, we build a garment factory in the country where some of our practitioners can go and work in that factory. This is part of shepherding your flock.
Joalo, do you know what Proverbs 10:4 says? I will tell you. It said a lazy hand brings poverty, whereas the hand that is diligent creates and brings wealth. It's as simple as that. That's Proverbs 10. For the reason why I'm trying to quote these verses tonight is that people will go and look back on them. And when they look back on them, they realize, look, let's forget about that. But let's go and take upon other ones. Like when you look at Proverbs 10:11. It says, you will sleep slumber. Why? It says, a little sheep, a little slumber, and poverty will come creeping on you. Well, I want to sleep small. Let me get up. I want to sleep small. Let me get up. They went deeper to Proverbs 26:13. That the one you'll be shocked. Say, the sluggard says, there is a lion in the road. You know why? He must find an excuse not to walk to the farm.
Oh, but Amiga, let me tell you, our people, let me tell you what the word shepherd means in its truest form. The reason why they call people that lead God's flock, the people, God's people, they call them a shepherd. What a shepherd does is a shepherd takes a bunch of sheep. He looks for green pasture all around. In fact, in the olden days, the shepherd will walk for miles, villages, towns. He will walk from Kakatan to Moreover looking for good place for his flock to eat. So the sheep, they can be fat, they can make more milk, so they can become fruitful and multiply. That is the responsibility of the shepherd, which is the pastor of the church, the imam of the mosque. You have to lead your flock. The reason why I'm bringing this up, it is not to criticize my people. Our job on this platform is to reshape the way we think about society. It's to reshape. A pastor is a leader. A leader must have certain preparation. So to the brother who say you don't have to go to seminary to become a pastor, this is not true. The seminary is one thing. We replace seminary for education. For education. Do you know in the olden days, before you become a priest, you will start as an altar boy. Sometimes you will spend the first 30 years of your life being under a priest, learning the way of becoming a priest, learning how to guide your flock, learning how to run a church, learning how to run ministry, learning how to run organization. So the seminary is a place of preparation. It is not necessarily going to seminary. Don't think about it as school. Think about it as place of preparation to lead your flock into a proper place.
But
So
Alu,
go ahead.
Do you know what 2 Thessalonians says in chapter 3, verse 10?
I don't know about verses for me.
I will tell you, anyone who is not willing to work, that person should not be given food to eat.
But that's what it says.
I'm
telling
telling
you,
you,
refuses to work should not eat.
Who is not willing to work should not be given food to eat. That's 2 Thessalonians 3:10. It's good to get these verses played up so people can write them down and go sit down and say, well, wait. So these people are not actually talking about the Bible. They are showing us the lines for creativity, productivity, and hard work. Because on a good day, if you're not hardworking, who's supposed to feed you?
Thank you, Sam. Again, it's more about leadership. And here's another thing too. Sometimes, I play a video in the beginning. Most of you guys that want to hear, and it goes back to the issue of bread and butter every day that will come in Liberia. The guy he was interviewing, he said a lot of good things. He said, the food price is not dropping in the country. A lot of things drop in the country. Electricity is constant. We're getting water across the country. The roads are being connected. But the bread and butter issue, that the one we're waiting for now. I want you to think about the psychology of that man. Think about his psychology. Do you know, I hate to do this, but I will have to do this because this is for educational purposes. When the Fullers come to our country, when they come from Mali, when they come from Senegal, when they come from Guinea, they come into Liberia. Sometimes, do you know they start with tea and grumpy? All about that, you don't see that? They pass around with the tea kettle, with tea and grumpy. You follow that same man for 1 year. Next thing you know, when we were boys in Buchanan, next thing you know, they got a bicycle. Then they put the goods in the back of the bicycle. They buy small thing, they put it in the back of the bicycle. When you look, then you see that same food that guy. Next thing you know, you got a big table somewhere in real life. When you look 5 years, that man get his first store. The point I'm trying to make here is there is a progression in this man intent to not be hungry, to be able to take care of a wife, to be able to take care of his children. Along that route, the reason why we are permanently stagnated, and I'm not just saying this because I feel I can work. No, I'm not saying this. I want us collectively, I am included as well, to change our psyche about the way we think about Liberia. There is no miracle that's going to happen in Liberia if we do not put boot to action. We must put boot to action in Liberia. It is the point that I'm trying to drive home tonight. But it takes calculated decisions being made along that route for it to happen. There is no such thing as bread and butter issue if you do not go forward and initiate that bread and butter.
Look, the desire of lazy men are okay. Desire, I want this, I want that, without working for it, okay, because he refused to allow his hand to labor. The desire of a lazy man leads to his death because he refused to allow his hands to labor. And you can see them. There are men who grow long nails. And, I can't wash. I can't this. But he's living in an estate that all the men in there are very hardworking and busy. But he could live off them by washing certain clothes a day. And before you know, in a week, he has washed 10 to 15 persons' clothes times $10. He's made $100+ in that week. But I can assure you, I know one thing for sure. The Bible has told me, 2 Thessalonians 3:10, any man who cannot work should never be given to eat. What we're saying here today is not about, this pastor this pastor that, this pastor this. I'm simply saying, if I were married to my beautiful sister called here, and she go tell me, say, can you take me to the pastor's house at 11 o'clock because he's hungry, I need to get him food. I promise you I will take her there, I will drop her, but I will leave her there and she will not come out.
Simple.
Because on a good
day,
when I am sick at 10 o'clock, I tell her, say, I want pursue. You can't wait till in the morning.
Yeah.
You know it's late. But all the food stuff that she was going to pursue for me in the freezer. But at 11 o'clock the following week, pastor call. She in the same freezer, pour. I will let you cook it. I will let you put it in the car. I will drive you. But I will not tell you about him. Because you are honoring him more than me. And I know what Ephesians 6 says about honoring your husband. Says,
so what does it say about? So let me just come in. I've been listening to you guys. To be honest with you, this is terrible. This is terrible. And you know I'm gonna come in. So it's an interesting discussion, and I agree with most of what was said. So everything is reciprocity.
That's right.
Yeah.
Everything is reciprocity. And reciprocity does not mean that there's an unbalanced or unequally yoked relationship between men and women.
Galatians 5.
This whole idea of And I'm going to talk about this from a practical standpoint. I'm not going to talk about this from a standpoint of religion, because I'm not qualified. I'm not a theologist, right? And also people have their beliefs. That is their right. But just on a practical level, you know, the thing I like to say all the time is that the counterpart to a king is not a slave, but a queen.
That's right.
So you want to be a king and you want to yoke yourself with a servant. It doesn't work. That's the first thing. The counterpart to a king is a queen. And then the second thing I would like to say is that even in our traditions, there is balance. Equality doesn't mean sameness, it means balance.
That's right.
And the question I have for the people who complain about the wives going to cook for the pastors, what is she receiving from the pastor that she's not receiving from the husband? You know, suppose the pastor is a woman. Suppose the person is running to is her brother or her father. I know people who trust their pa more than their husband. Something going wrong, they don't tell their husband, they call daddy. I'm talking about big women, my age group. Daddy, that thing happening, oh. You understand? Daddy, oh. And they're talking about their actual biological fathers because they can't call their husbands. And I always thought that was strange. Like, maybe because, you know, my father left this world a long time ago, but I always found that strange. And then you start to ask yourself, what is it that is lacking that this person is seeking their counterpart elsewhere? What's missing in their yoke that they're seeking it elsewhere? And that should be the question, because I don't think my husband would ever ask the question, because I'm not running to anybody for any guidance outside of my life partner. And it's because we are actual partners. Likewise, if something's happening in my husband's life, he's not running elsewhere to go get the issue solved. I am his confidant. I am his partner. So these things are reciprocal. They're balanced. They're harmonious. I never hear men who are hardworking, who are doing what they're supposed to do in every way, complaining about the things that I hear other men complain about. The men that like chasing skirts, you know, the men that don't take care of their business at home, the men that don't take care of their wives spiritually, intellectually, they don't stimulate her. And in so many ways, those are the people that now they sit down, oh, what's she running to pass over? Because the pastor doing what you are not. That is why. And so we have to really start to talk about ourselves. And I say this a lot, you know, many Liberian men are correct. They do the right things. I'm married to a Liberian man and I respect him. And he does what he's supposed to do. And the more he does what he's supposed to do, the more I respect him. Respect is something that people command by their behavior and their conduct. It's not something they demand by virtue of their genitalia. You understand? So it doesn't mean because you man your trouser that you man in fact, right? So people have to understand this. And so I speak on behalf of those of us women who are.
You see what Seattle Tengme wrote?
What she wrote?
Really?
Tell me about it.
And some of the problems in the communities yeah, of course. Let me tell you something. This idea of whining, crying men is so unattractive. No woman wants to be married to a man who's always whining and crying and complaining about being a man. You understand? Imagine if the women of the world got up and just whining and crying about being women. It's a weird phenomenon, right? I don't think this is a thing about Liberian men. Like I said, I'm married to a Liberian man who's not lazy, who's very hardworking and very ambitious. And most important, he's responsible. And responsibility is something that comes from guidance and having a good role model. I don't know if you guys agree with that. You know, we sometimes
I agree with that 100%.
We lack positive male role models at times, and positive female role models as well, right? And so that affects the way young men become heads of household. They don't have the understanding of what their responsibilities are. I've seen situations where in the relationship, women who are typically genetically and physiologically wired to be more emotional. We have estrogen, right? And then you got a man who behaves like he's full of estrogen too. Then you see the man, the woman, the two of them going tit for tat.
Yeah.
The woman, you know, she's going through the moon cycle and she's emotional and every little thing setting her off. The man too, he joined her right there. She talked one, he talked.
You ought to talk about it.
That is just not attractive,
it's
right?
Not manly. No, I agree.
It isn't. So we have men who are lacking the positive male role models to really teach them how to conduct themselves as men. You know, I've never seen in my life a man who is responsible and taking care of the things he's supposed to take care of complain about being respected. I haven't seen it. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it's usually the ones in that behave as if they're filled of estrogen, like they and their wives want the same things out of life. You know, they're not equally yoked, they're on the same path. Everybody, you know, those are the ones. Oh, the woman not considering my feeling. You know, but she don't want to have to pay the bills. She ain't cooking my food, but when she works, all of her income gotta go to take care of the children. You fly into Liberia looking for a girlfriend. You expect things to be equally yoked. And
I have no comment on our portion, but I'm gonna say this.
Amen.
Let's do this, guys. We talk about these things, so it's not a place blame, but so we can fix it. And gentlemen,
I'm joking. Now, listen, if your husband go to Liberia, your wife go to Liberia, they're not looking for partners.
Yeah. No, but you know, people look at the end of the day, we got to fix it and do better, every single one of us. And Cole says something, and I want to say this, not to throw. I for one, and I disagree with one thing she did say. I don't care what's going on. No woman should be going to no pastor because of something she's not getting at home. They should address it there. I disagree on that portion, but this is what I agree with her on
I didn't say they should. I'm just saying the reason.
The reason, okay, yeah, the reason why they go there, maybe they're not getting it at home. But I would say this, I know sometimes doing everything, sometimes guys will complain, oh, she's value. You know, when you get money, the women again respect you. Yeah, it's a factor, but you got to understand, you're a man. That's some of your requirement. You got to go look for it. You gotta go look for it some kind of a way. I don't see him go studio, but a call for you to go make call, you gotta go look for it. I know there are difficulties associated with that, but I want to say this: you have a role to play as a man. You have to lead, and part of that leadership, you gotta provide. It's not gonna be easy. It's not easy, but you gotta provide. And it goes back to the role model thing you mentioned, Cole. You have to align yourselves. Now when you see me in the show, men, you have to raise your sons. You cannot leave your son to anybody to raise. Especially you got to raise your sons because you got to make them men. You got to make them men. It's important. It is so important that we do that, because if we don't do that, the community is going to falter. Some of the dissolution you see in our communities because we men, we've dropped the ball in so many ways that I cannot describe here. That's what we talk about, these social issues. It doesn't mean we are better or any form, but we have to talk about it so together we can make it better. Honorable Nanuga, before we go to the next topic for the night.
But Dada, I don't know why I can't mention this sister say if I marry her and she do this, she do that, because that turn have cost her. But truth be told, truth be told, some people think right now we are condemning people talking to pastors, whereas no, we are saying we should be hardworking.
Oh yeah.
We are saying we should be honorable in our doing. We are saying we should be fair in how we treat our partners and build our homes. We are saying nothing should come to you because you feel you're entitled to get it. We are saying it is honorable to work and earn your own. And we are saying, listen, if you remain idle, you become the devil worship. You become envious, you become unproductive. And the Bible says, he who does not work should not eat. So it goes down to us, because we are developing a culture in Liberia where everybody wants to take from you. You want to give that guy, he promised me, I promised him something. Hello, you are living a life of giving and you are in poverty. When do we give? Those are the kind of discussion we need to start holding. When do we give? Who do we give? What's the purpose of giving? How does it manifest itself in becoming better for others in the society? When we give to Peter, how does it manifest itself better? We have to start talking about this. I'll give you an example. And what I'm about to tell you will scare you. In 2020, in 2003, 2004, I returned back to Liberia. And because I had about 107 staff in Ghana, I knew how tough Ghana was. So when guys were returning back to Ghana, what I would do in Liberia, I said, okay, man, you know what? I know it's easy for you and you live on the way back of it. But you know what? Every month, just know that you get $100 when you come to town. Just pass. Your name is on this list. There was a guy I was giving $200 to. I did that for 6 years. His friend came. When I told the two of them came, they, oh, so my man here now. I said, okay. So since you're man here and you're working now, but you've still been collecting this $200, working at finance, you've still been collecting this $200. Let me tell you what I would do. I want to get a man $200. But since you are working and you're making good money now, I will be giving you extra 100 so that'll be your transportation to go to work. But I will add 100 on the guy pay so he can continue to, oh yeah, Chris, that's the best thing. I'm working now. Do you know what that guy did to me? The man who brought his friend to me to tell me he's working, he's working from Ghana. That guy threw Goa.
But man, look, the thing on the screen, I want to make a little stress on the screen before we go to my man. I want people to interpret it. The person wrote, be a provider in every way, emotionally, physically, mentally, and financially. There's another thing I want to say to especially people that are married. Y'all got to put the money together. I know sometimes, and these little things bring you closer together. It's extremely. I don't know over the last 24 years when I ever got paid. My wife tell me that I got paid. Honey, you just got paid. Because I don't pay attention to that. The only thing I pay attention to, for example, if we don't have enough money, then I stress out a little bit. And the reason why I'm saying that, I know it's a difficult thing for people to understand.
It's not difficult.
It's hard for a woman to get an ex-boyfriend and money. But for all we done there, they call it a permanent fee. We got to pay it forever, ever till we die. My ex-girlfriend can find me somewhere else and squeeze money out of me. But because ex-boyfriend can find out from her. Don't we lie? Little things that are there, very important.
Thank God you're speaking from experiences.
Yeah, if I spend money in Japan, she gotta notice. Oh, and it's self-tracking. It's self-tracking. And sometimes people do things, you take money to Liberia. Even when I used to go to Liberia a lot, I gave all the money to her. So when she sent the money, she's an auditor. Only way you do it, they all have money here. I said, you can believe me. You know, I like when you do that, you put less stress on yourself.
Yeah,
and it bonds you. It bonds
you more.
And so this goes back to what you guys were talking about, male role models and things like that, right? So my husband, and not to get too personal, but he has a father, a male role model who's a responsible father who has the household responsibly, right? Took care of his children, paid their school fees, took care of his wife, right? And then there's other positive male role models that help to raise my husband, uncles, and there's a whole network of responsible men behind my husband. Those are some of the things that attracted me to him. You want to know a man, look at the men that are behind him.
Around him.
Right? Around him that raised him. Look at the men that groomed him into manhood. If you want to know the kind of man you get.
Hold back position.
It is a rare situation where irresponsible men will breed a very responsible. Some people, in spite of their upbringing, will force themselves to be responsible. I'm not taking away from that. Human beings make choices. But typically, if you're raised well, you will behave well, right?
You have to behave well.
And the same thing with women. The same thing with women.
Yeah.
If you're getting married to a woman whose mother values money more than she values relationships and other principles, a woman who's her mother used to send her to go look for a man to bring money in the house. You're gonna make that woman head of your family. You're gonna put that woman in charge of your future children. So all those things, it goes both ways. You need positive role models as a human being in order for you to be the person that you need to be.
People you respect, and you're right. You're right. Look, in some of these things we talk, it's important that when we talk about these social issues. I remember when I first went to my West father, and I took my uncle here in America. I took my uncle and my father to go see her father. I paid 15 cents for what I can be booking her. I said I buy you for 15 cents. Don't give me a hard time. And those little traditions are very important. So every time I think about, even when I get married to her, I remember because her father took her hand and said, I put my daughter's hand in your hand. So these little things mean a lot, and we chunk it all away. Even only by one woman, the play where you play your C, it's extremely important. Look at the other thing where you think the other thing where give her boyfriend or ex-boyfriend money, she would rather take it from her ex-boyfriend. They play the rose in. They can get an ex-boyfriend money, but when her ex-girlfriend and see her, they can still jam or they will take money from her. That one, that Mr. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. I supposed to say that lie. Look, let me tell you something. And I'm happy to be straight with you. I won't give you a revelation. I'm happy for the younger generations coming up in Liberia.
Yeah.
Those between the ages of 18 and 30 right now, I'm proud of them. You won't imagine if you do a survey, you know how many of them are into serious business and even building houses.
That's good.
And they will tell you, say, oh, I don't go on the Facebook, but I like it, but once in a while, and you'll be shocked. I'm seeing things over the last 2 years that I have not seen in a long time. I have three young girls between the ages of 18 and 21 right now. They're in this university somewhere in Cinco, I think 16 or so street or so. Each of them have their own businesses. When they sit down with me to discuss their plans and what the advice I'm advising the 3 businesses, I'm like, wow, these children thinking so deep. So I'm like, listening to them talking, I'm like, are these children actually 18 to 21? They look like, but I asked them the other day when we were talking, and I said, you're going to church every Sunday. They said, yeah, we're going to go to every Sunday. I said, what you go for? Kulu said, it's a place to reflect. I'm like, what do you mean? He said, but workers will work all through the week. We go to school, we do this, we do this, we do this. We can't even talk to God one day. I said, who you talking to God, your pastor? He said, hey, I'm talking to God. I left the conversation like that. But it tells you that one way or the other, they've seen something that guides their steps, either at home, based on somebody talking to them regularly, or somewhere, somehow, or maybe I'm the one influencing it. But I know very well that the generation coming up, there are those who love sensation and the social, but there are those who are also clear on where they are going. And I'm just praying and hoping that this little thing we're doing today is actually going to click on other people's mind right now and say, oh, wait, now you mean this book and discuss this kind of conversation and there's no hindrance. Let's look at the good side of it. And I just hope it works the magic. Because on a good day, me, as I speak to you, Dalu, I won't lie to you.
Yeah, but Labrador will make progress. Small is called. We're going to come to you. Young ladies across our country, your body that I'm play toy. It is actually a temple, and you got to protect it. There's a reason why there's dignity to it, and you have to understand. I know sometimes on social media we see stuff that I cannot describe here. People say, I need to have full goal parts. You are actually diminishing yourself in ways that I cannot describe yet. It's actually scientific as well. It is not as simple as you saying. There was a video going around Facebook, and I saw a lot of social media people talking about it, especially guys in the opposition, saying President Boaga robbed this little boy, and they don't understand. So I want for to talk about it very briefly.
Bring it. You say you want to present the money to you to say thank you for the donation and carry the
He said, thank you for the whole country. Before I even say anything, a lot of people say, oh, he's only refused the money. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my God, this is not even the public. Do you really believe President Boaga needs $700 LD? The acceptance of that money made that labor feel very, very fine. Exactly. Nobody know what happened behind the scene, but people politicize things like that. It's not big to talk about, but these are very important.
Well, it's very important to talk about. It's one of the most important things this year to talk about. That a child, 7 years old, will say, Papi, I got something for you. I got Christmas for you. And the woman stopped right away and turned. He didn't even know where it was coming from. Then he saw his colleague standing in front of him. and the boy dug deep into his pocket, not just stick up
Wrap it.
Then he said that, yeah.
Baby.
The fact that the old man took it from him, from one hand to the other, and stayed shaking, and then listened to him, he said, Papa, you're doing well for this country. Thank you for everything you're doing for that bro. I will not tell you what happened at the back, so I'm not going to go there. But I want to tell you this. A simple means that we must learn to be selfless and humble. That everyone in society that we govern is important. But let me tell you, I want to look at President Baga's side. Let me look at the boy's side. Let me show you something. Did you see the confidence with which that little boy spoke? Did you see that after giving the papa the ma and shaking his hand, giving him his words, how he yet turned around and walk? It was not a staging.
Nope.
It was nature playing its role with that kid naturally. He didn't even say, look, it was so fluid that you will understand that whatever happened there, the Bible says, if you don't praise me, I will wake up the stones to do the job. What happened over there is beyond common imagination and common reasoning. But it just tells you that the message of development does not resonate with the political class alone or with the adults alone, but it resonates with the very foundation of the child born yesterday.
Yeah.
Cisco, I remember during the campaign, and thank you so much, Aaron, for highlighting this. There were a lot of young kids across the country taking their lunch money and donating to President Bwaka's campaign. So I know he bears a massive burden for these young people. For me, this is one of the reasons why I get excited when I even see water going somewhere, because this next generation has to be far better than us. And I think the country is headed in that direction. Cisco, what do you think just by this gesture from this young little man?
It tells me, first of all, that our traditions have not died with everyone. The people who are saying mess, they are not, they are removed from our culture, right? I love that you told the story about how you went to your wife's family with your uncle.
My father.
You all the way across the Atlantic in America. The culture has not died in you. This little boy in Lofa gets up, and he was raised in a culture that when your leader arrives, you bring gifts to greet your leader if your leader is doing well. This is what we've done for thousands of years. And here's this baby greeting the leader with a gift. If you think about it, I mean, I remember being very young and my father going to Nimba, taking us to Nimba. He didn't need chickens and plantain and cassava for anybody. They used to bring it to him anyway, because it's a gesture of gratitude and appreciation. And refusal of such a gesture is so disrespectful. It would have been like, he's telling this boy that he's not worthy to thank him. Why would he do that? So the only people who are going to say anything negative about this are people who have absolutely no understanding of their own culture and what it represents that happened, or they think that everybody else in Liberia has forgotten who they are. Yeah. But I actually was moved by that young man's gesture, and then many other things that I saw in Lofa I thought were wonderful. I want to also mention that. Anyway, I'll wait for that. I have something I wanted to talk about, but it's off topic, so I'll wait. But Lofa, the trip to Lofa was beautiful. That little boy, I don't know what his name was. I don't know if he said his name on the video, but young man, if you're listening, you have my utmost respect. May your future be bright and confident as the light you shine on our president and the blessings you gave our president. It was wonderful. Thank you.
I agree, and I hope
Before
that
you close that, can I ask this question? What do you think that video would mean for that kid when he's 21? I just leave it at.
I mean, as a mentor for children, or young adults, I should say, not children, young adults in their 20s, they look back at their own childhoods, not having videos or anything to reference. but they look back at their own childhoods and say, oh, I should have done this differently, or if I would have done this. This little boy's going to look back and see himself as a confident young man. That short interaction with the president, let me tell you, I forgot to mention this. Black guy shaking the young man's hand and looking at him in the eye. When someone that powerful meets you as a child and appreciates you, not for what he did for you, but what you did for him. Do you know how that boosts that young man's self-esteem? This could be a critical. First of all, he was already raised well. I can tell that he's got a good upbringing. You know, his parents made sure he's got all the protective gear on because of his albinism. I thought that was beautiful because you see a lot of our children that suffer. We have a large population of children that have albinism in Liberia. And the fact that they had his head covered with a stocking cap to protect his skin, the glasses. Because somebody was asking, what he wearing the shades for? Because he has to protect his eyes. It's dry season. And so his parents are clearly responsible and caring and have instilled in him some values and some tradition. So that young man, as Rebecca Kova said, he will be a leader. Amen, amen, amen. He will be a leader. And that young man will look back on this and he will remember this as a turning point for himself. The last thing I'll say, Adolphus McCritty, if you're listening, he's an architect there in Liberia. Adolphus has a picture of himself with President Talbot, I believe, shaking President Talbert's hand. It was a big deal. Once in a while, he'll post it on Facebook. And this is when he was he wasn't a child, but he was a very young man. And he always references that back, right? Because these moments change something in you as a young person when you get to meet leaders, great people. It evokes some kind of courage and it inspires you. So hopefully that video that young man will see when he's 21 on Nanuga, and he will be proud and he will remember that hopefully was a moment of inspiration for him.
I agree. And we hope it reaches that level. It inspires him. So today we're going to talk about, just briefly, guys, today is a chill day with nothing major, nothing heavy. President Boakai literally, I think, gave clemency. Is it called what? Clemency to 72 inmates nationwide. Let me just read an excerpt from the publication here. It says, President Joseph Yaman Boakai Sr. has exercised his constitutional authority to grant executive clemency to 72 eligible inmates across Liberia, citing the spirit of reconciliation, mercy, and national healing during the holiday season. According to the executive mansion release, the clemency, effective immediately, includes pardons and commutation for inmates who demonstrated good behavior, genuine remorse, and met eligibility standards set by the Justice and Correctional authorities. The decision followed a thorough review of recommendations submitted to the established legal administrative channels. Holiday season, the president goes there. Some of these guys, they're in there. They met good conduct standards in the jails. They met the requirements. He gave them some clemency. What about Nanuga? Clemency necessary, or they may have committed a crime, they should be in there for a while?
Clemency is necessary. Some people got in there without knowing how they got in there. Some people did make mistakes in life and decided to be better role models in that place. It is not mean to judge. But I know I always want to give me a second chance in life. And if I have the chance to get a second chance in life, even from God right now, to make me come to be young again, for my mom to take care of me and the rest, I will live it maybe even a better way to understand what my destiny is from day one. We all want a second chance. And we must not fail in our duties to deliver the opportunity of a second chance. And President Boakai, in his role as president, has a unique role. Don't forget what the Bible says about leaders. They are put in positions to do the unexpected because they are gods in their own rights. So if those clemencies will make the impact in the lives of those people and it will spread and resonate to other citizenry in their various communities, I'm glad those clemencies were given.
That's good. So, Cole, before I come to you, this is what the president said during the clemency. He says, this act of clemency is not a negation of justice, the president said. Rather, it affirms our belief in rehabilitation, human dignity, and the possibility of reform. As a nation, we must uphold the rule of law while recognizing the power of mercy to restore lives and strengthen families. Your take on this issue?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, we should be trying to reform our citizens who've made mistakes. I don't know the nature of the crimes. I'm hoping these are not, violent crimes, or, I'm hoping these are crimes that people should be redeemed from. And I'm sure in his wisdom, he knows who to grant clemency to. But our prison conditions in Liberia are not correct. When you get sentenced to prison in Liberia, a lot of times it's a death sentence, or it's going to reduce your lifespan. Just because of the conditions. Even in most parts of the world, it's not just a Liberia issue. So whenever possible for the president to show mercy, in the society in general to show mercy, once someone has reasonably paid their debt to society and been reformed, I think it's the right thing to do. And President Boyka is far wiser than I am. So right, he's far wiser than I am. And I think that all I can say is, yes, and Seata says everyone deserves a second chance. No, I don't agree with you, Seata. Everyone doesn't deserve a second chance. There's some crimes you commit that you don't deserve a second chance. In some situations, people do deserve a second chance. I agree with that, but that is not a universal truth. There are some crimes people commit that's it. That's it. There's certain things you do. You rape a child, that's it. There's no second chance business.
I think Florida just passed a law. If you rape a child under the age of 12, you get executed. This is a new law in Florida. Let me just read very briefly the criteria he used to let these people go. He said the beneficiary includes 72 individuals, 70 Liberian national and 2 Guinean national, comprising 70 males and 2 female, including juveniles. All were convicted in non-capital felony offenses. That's the answer to your question over the Kalu. The selection criteria prioritize inmates who have served more than 50% of their sentences, those who completed prison terms but remain incarcerated due to minor reinstitutional obligations, as well elderly inmates, etc., stuff like that. So these are not non-violent offenses. These are something. I just want to play a brief video from Sir Joseph. We will comment on it, take a few calls. It's meant to be a short day today. It's not so much. You saw Sir Joseph video, right?
Very inspiring.
Yeah, let me play the video very quickly. It's 2 minutes long. Let's listen to Honorable Sir Joseph and his take on his current administration.
Give you all deserved support. I'll get that protection. Mr. President, thank you for giving us the opportunity. Just how we never supported you during your election, but you brought us closer. Thank you. And today, Mr. President, one thing I can talk about, I feel more happy and secure in your administration than previous administration. We continue to see for the level of work you have done. In most of our country, the four link leading to the whole other side. I voted for it. And Mr. President, thank you. That road will lead to from most of our country to go water side. And all of those other development in the country, the lighting, first time in the history of Liberia since the civil crisis, since 50 years, is this president that took electricity to Bento City, the capital city of Montserrat country. When I went and talked to him, I said, Mr. President, there is no electricity in Bento, the capital city of Montserrat. He was shocked that there's no electricity in Bento. And when that order was given today, the first time the children are seeing electricity. Since 50 years, they can see electricity today. Mr. President, we want to encourage you that electricity to test to Tony. From Bento to Tony, it's very short. 300 posts, we already get electricity in Tony. Very short distance. Yeah. So the former caucus chair know what you're talking about. But I want to say thank you for the unity. We can now come home in our country. You don't want to come back when there's confusion.
So I brought a little bit closer. What about Nanuga? Bento City. I'm always curious though, just out of curiosity. What did you Bento, like capital city for you? Not go there?
Yeah.
Okay, now wedding be the year because we announced it as capital. What kind of
You know,
capital?
didn't tour doing our play. You know, didn't tour doing our play. You know, didn't
Okay,
tour doing our play.
I want no talking
And
because me I go down see
that play
that.
get one whole country there. You know that they play all the people from Barbados are
Cruiserville.
Yeah.
There are no Cruiserville, but nothing there. That my only thing I saw BBO mansion in there.
But I tell you what important before.
Okay,
Let
go
me
ahead.
get
Tell your
important
own. Tell your own.
Don't forget, I will put everybody inside that play. They're doing good things. But I'm glad that it's not about Bento, it's that electricity is reaching all the cronies of the country.
I agree.
Right.
And the celebration has been humongous. Don't forget, it's not the adults that have been celebrating, no. It is the children who have been celebrating. And for me, it goes to my soul.
Let Bento, yeah. I'm about to go. Cherry. Let play Bento when the lights got turned on.
Well,
Your take.
Oh, I transfer it to you. Take.
No, your take. Go ahead.
Look, you don't even know. Right now, something major is about to happen in Bento again, between Bento and Fendel. Are you aware that Liberia's first garbage to energy industry is almost complete?
Oh wow.
That's why this light is also important. We're about to start converting the garbage to energy and also to fertilizer and other things right over there. I actually let it pick out the bag when I shouldn't.
This
But
is
look,
good.
when you see the RIA people crying, when you see
Which
the
project
sisters,
was that? Nanuga?
it's actually former lawmakers and private sector from abroad doing it.
Oh, okay. I just want to know the project. I just want to make sure,
It's a private PPP. It's a private investment.
That's good.
But it's going to go a long way because the government is going to work with them to make sure that they can get all the materials they need.
So are we going to transfer Wind Town from where it's located, or we're going to cover Wind Town?
Is going to buy all the garbage from Wentown, Fairmont, and other places to meet their demand. And they don't, in fact, they don't have the means to get enough already.
Yeah.
The factory does not have the means. All the garbage we're producing are not going to be enough.
Yeah.
Then the plastics are also going to be separated for other purposes. A major work is ongoing. Maybe I will get us next week to have it shown here.
Okay.
But we don't know that. And I'm happy to see that. You see, I'm glad we didn't do anything serious today. So it's giving me a chance to reflect and remember some things that we should remember. But honestly, the kids are the ones telling us we're doing the right thing. And that's a big plus for us.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something the other day. I joined the convoy just by error. Because I went to see the president in the house, then we're going somewhere, so I went along. This was not a planned thing, so nobody can say it was planned. By the time we got to Rehab Junction, all the motorbike there and everybody, all the women then were like, do a double lap away. And I'm sitting down and I'm feeling this cold goosebump on my body that, what is it? Why are they so excited? But then it's not far-fetched. Imagine what will happen when he's driving to go to the airport the next time on the RI route. How would they, if the people get to know he's traveling and he's going to be traveling at a particular time, how would they react? That's what the children in Benton are doing. That's what is happening. Have you seen what's happening in Central Monrovia? What's happening in Central Monrovia? Oh my God. Bottom line, the celebration is not with the adults, it's with the kids.
Thank you. Echo, across the country, I've been noticing a lot of videos on Facebook. I saw Joseph was speaking. There were a lot of people who've been saying, in the beginning, I play a short video, I will play that video again for you. They said, I didn't support President Bwaka, but it seems the papi really mean well. It's not just coming from the senator side, Joseph, but it's coming from ordinary Liberians across the country because they're seeing a lot of positivity. In fact, President Bwaka actually got a letter from somebody and he tried to read it. Let me just play it briefly to hear it from his own mouth regarding people that voted for somebody else and then realized the president is doing a lot of great things across the country.
Some people believe that no matter what happened, I want to read to you, let me have my phone, a message I read that was sent to somebody by a sedition, and from sedition to unity partisan, because from the start I thought JNB was a joker, but what I'm seeing now, just in a short period of time, I think JNB is a heaven sent. It said, whatsoever transformation that is taking place in GMB government is for all Liberians. So I have no regrets. This is exactly what Thomas Farmer is telling you. We see good things.
This is what the messages are coming in literally from people from other organizations recognizing that the impact of the development across the country are touching them all over. It's not restricted to a small location in Riyadh or somewhere in Monrovia. It's extending into Nima, into Grand Crew, all across the country. I even have a video from a young man here that was traveling from Grand Crew to Bikini. It took him 5 hours instead of 4 days that he used to take before. Cool.
I mean, people have survived 6 years of a kleptocracy. People have survived 6 years of social abuse, of political abuse, of governmental abuse. They have survived 6 years of some of the worst examples of Liberians being in positions of power and abusing those positions of power. They survived 6 years of the country being in a free fall. So I don't think people's expectations were very high, other than we have to get rid of this disastrous decision. So when it goes back to people talking about second chances, certain people, there are things that you do, you don't deserve a second chance. WIA does not deserve a second chance to loot and maraud our country. That being said, the president has surpassed and exceeded the expectations of the Liberian people, which was just that, Boakai is going to bring normalcy. He's going to stabilize the country. He will not be doing the free fall looting, and he won't be dancing booga and disrespecting us and alienating all of our friends and allies around the world. Beyond that, he has come in with a very strong cabinet. He's coming with very strong appointees. He's coming with a strong team to advance the cause of the Liberian people. And that, I think, for a lot of people was not expected because of all of the propaganda that people were throwing at him when he took over. He has transformed the country from a place where people had very low hopes and expectations to a place where people are looking at a big future picture and they're thinking that it is not only a picture, but it's attainable, and that they're going to see a transformed Liberia in their lifetimes, and because of what has happened in just 2 years. So it's a powerful, powerful impact that the president has had in the spirits, the hearts and minds and the souls of the everyday citizen. When I was in Liberia, I just want to share this. On the 6th of December, after the incident, after the rally, there was an incident also at the Nati C.A. Burnell House, the Obad Girls School, in front of Miata Fambula's home. And so I left the rally and I decided to go see, because that happened on the 5th and the rally was on the 6th. So after the Unity Party homecoming ceremony, a rally, I went down to see Auntie Miata. And before I went to her house, I stopped to buy some things from some of the vendors that are on the road, right down the road from her house there. And I was still in my full Unity Party stuff. And the girls that were coming to sell, lapa and all kind of things. Oh, our partisan. So I said to them, I know y'all partisan. Y'all know I know y'all partisan. You don't have to be my partisan for me to buy from y'all. Buying for y'all because y'all like Liberian people. Not because we're in Unity Party. And one of the girls said, I think that woman talking that true. She said, big sis, Unity Party different. Their president different. We support a man, but a man taking care of all of us.
Yeah.
That is something nobody that was not a sedition has ever said on the 6 years George Weah was in power.
Nope, you were ostracized.
That was so profound. It will stay with me forever. We support a man, but he's taking care of all of us.
Yeah.
Because that is what you're supposed to do. There was a comment somebody made, and I forgot who it was. Mo Ali had read it last week or so, where they said, "Oh, Boycott acting like he got a mandate from the public, like he won by a large margin."
Correct.
Let me tell you something. It doesn't matter if you win by plus one vote, right? It's 50 plus 1.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you win with the lowest numbers. When you win, you are president of Liberia. You're not president for CDC. You're not president for Unity. You're president for all the Liberian people. And that is what George Weah and his administration did not understand. That he was the president of Liberia. He only addressed seditions. It was wicked. It was unpresidential.
Yeah.
It was childish. You understand? So for this girl who said she a woman, right? We don't have to be unity partisan. We ain't supporting man, but he's taking care of all of us, meaning that his policies are for all Liberians. You have people running, like for example, the diaspora program. None of them, as far as I know, maybe only Erasmus out of that whole group supported President Boycott. The rest of those people were behind Cummings.
Yeah.
He still empowered them.
Yeah.
Because I know they were behind Cummings, so we used to be fighting on social media. But he didn't say, "Oh, y'all supported Cummings, so y'all got no role to play in the Liberian government." So look at our Minister of Foreign Affairs. She ran against him.
Yeah.
He's pulling people together who can do the country's work. He is the president of Liberia. As much as I'm a unity partisan and I'm a legacy member of the party, and I will beat drum for UP, I'm very proud that Unity Party does not behave like a cult, that when they take office, they're statesman-like and they govern the country for all the citizens to benefit. That is powerful. And this is my message. It's like, President Boycott, you have made us proud, and please continue to do the great work you're doing.
I couldn't agree with you more, and let me expand on that a little bit more. And sometimes people forget, especially over the last 6 years, you cannot alienate one group of Liberians because they did not vote for you. They are under no obligation to vote for you. But when you take on the mantle of leadership in the country, you have a duty, the constitutional order duty, to take care of them. It is not optional. And this is something President Boycott has truly personified here. It's uniting people across the country political line. I know there will still be a few people who are hardcore, quote-unquote, opposition, no matter what happens. They will still look for bad things, but look around the country for people. Even marking with me, I have a bunch of videos here that I could have played from person to person where I never voted for the president, but the president don't make selection or bring development to your area because of this or that. In fact, in the beginning, when I first started the class reloaded, almost over a year ago, when I first began on the show, somebody said, "Oh, Dwada, you're a businessman. Imagine a president who comes by the power, they will make sure to break your stuff down in Liberia." This is not what you want for the society. You have to lead the country recognizing that everybody does have a space in Liberia, irrespective of their political leaning. This is how we should be thinking. It's not we are shame. One thing I love about President Boycott, you have not seen any single project listed for him that he's built. He did not pull 14 military or anything. He did not pull Joseph Boycott on left pool. Every pool that was planted before, there was a poster on our pool for President Weah. You have not seen one thing across the country. Everything President Boycott has done is been for the Republic of Liberia project. There is not a single project that you've named. He said, "Oh, this is my personal project." He goes around the country. "Oh, this is this Weah project," even though the government money was funding these projects. And under our law, it's actually illegal. So they were flaunting the laws in the country for you to take government money and name it after yourself. Only the legislature can name something after somebody passing it through law. You cannot just personally go name something after yourself. When you say that, people didn't fully understand it. So what the president is doing, I really commend him for this. And one thing that excites me, Cole, is people around the country are starting to see the president's vision unfold. And it's a vision that's entirely inclusive. It calls for reconciliation because the only way we're going to develop on our Nanunga is we have to expand Liberia to make sure every single Liberian in Liberia has a place at the table, irrespective of who you support politically. Because if Liberia gets better, by default, we all get better. What about Nanuga? Any other things you say?
You just said it, when Liberia gets better, all of us have the benefit of the getting better. Look at the diaspora these days. Why do you think this government is so focused on diaspora tourism? There's wealth there. We've ignored it. Shouldn't we bring it back? Shouldn't we tap into it? Should we do it isolatedly or do it intentionally with a purpose and collectively? There is progress in tourism. Should we ignore it? The president is saying anything that makes us as a people different, we must access it. You and I didn't know each other. I didn't know any of you, but something's brought us together. And it's for the good of Liberia, nothing else. So if all of us have a father that is going to bring all of us together to celebrate Liberia in a good way through our various works, then it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. I don't know why tonight I'm so in a mood that I don't even have much to say. Because I have seen Christmas again, but I have seen people celebrate Christmas in a different way this year. I'm just waiting when we start paying the every 2 week salary, what will happen? And then later, I'll not tell how the pay go.
That would be a beautiful thing for the country, I'm telling you. 30 days too long.
So I have a question for Chris. Let's talk a little bit about tourism. So
Yeah.
I saw that you all are but there's a plan to revamp Providence Island. And I'm wondering why, with all of the research I've done on Providence Island, why y'all haven't called me? This is a problem. What's going on?
I told you some months ago when I met you on this show that at the right time I would take my phone and call you, right?
Okay.
And I always say to people that tourism is collective and intentional. And I really mean it's collective and intentional. It's blueprint work we are doing now. Blueprint. It's not just Providence Island. It's the Palm Grove Cemetery being turned into the Palm Grove Memorial Park. It's also the open air museum, which is going to consume about 2 to 3 acres. There's a lot of things unfolding, but it's all in design stages for project commendation and the recommendation. Once we can pass this stage, several people, for instance, Professor Joe Baba, you know all these people? We have a lot of people to call upon. And you may not know, the major work is where you people come in. There's history. There's for instance, there's a well on the island. You know that well? There's
It
a
was
well on the island.
Yeah, the well issue. That's what I'm saying. The history part component.
So you see,
Yeah,
for
so
us now it's
it
just design, but the inserting of the historical components in designs cannot go out you people.
yes, and so what I'm saying is from the inception of the planning, there has to be, because there's so much disinformation around Providence Island. Even the issue with the well, that well is not as old as people think it is.
Mhm.
So when you're even planning something like that, it has to be, and it's not just to pick on that. I want to divert the conversation a little bit. Um, let's talk about the grave of Sal Boso in Bopulu. Let's talk about that. Senator Amar Kane so rightly and correctly wants to relocate the grave. But the question I had for Senator Kane is, how do you know who is buried there and when they were buried there? How do you know who that is in that grave? And he was like, what are you talking about? Everybody knows that's Sal Bozo. But who is Sal Bozo? Who was Salboso? When you look at the historical record, they speak of boatswain. And they speak of boatswain. And then you have Benjamin Anderson, and who thoroughly wrote about Boatswain's son, who he interacted with, King Momolu, right? King Momolu was the son of Boatswain. King Momolu never called his father Salboso. Then you have Edward Wilmot Blyden, who spent many, many months with King Momolu and even took his sons back to Monrovia to be educated, right? He spent all this time with King Momolu. Not King Momolu's sons, not King Momolu himself, ever referred to their father as Boatswain. As Salboso. They always referred to him as Boatswain. You know why? That's what he called himself. Because in those days, people would call themselves things like Bato Obir, right? They would call themselves all kinds of names. The most important piece of evidence that I have that that's not Boatswain's grave is that Benjamin Anderson mapped the coordinates of Boatswain's grave. And he described how he was buried. He was buried in a mound, the traditional way that Africans bury people. And that mound was marked with a granite stone. The location is not where the location of the so-called Salboso grave is. So there's a confusion in the historical narrative that has to be addressed before they move the grave. First, know who's there. And I was joking. I said, don't be surprised when y'all exhume the body, you find wristwatch on your hand. Right? Because based on what I've looked at, that grave is probably from the early 1900s, not the early 1800s.
1918s, yeah.
You understand? So, and it's even buried in the Christian way. There's lots of reasons why we should know that that's not Boatswain in that grave. But we have this way of doing things without being thorough. And we risk, and I'm not saying your team, I'm just speaking generally. I know you guys have Princess is sharp. I just adore her. She's sharp as a whip, and I have a lot of respect for you as well. But I'm just generally speaking the importance of accuracy and taking the time to thoroughly research these things before we start running with it. Because we risk wasting money, wasting time, and also embarrassing ourselves. Because a lot of times the tourists that are going to Liberia are going there because they have studied the history. And they should not know more about the history than we do.
Of course.
Manaka be correct us.
To be straight with you, you know one thing that we've done, and the reason why we say we must do the designs, we're able to negotiate with friends and network around the world. Those designs cost between $40,000 to $150,000. We don't have government paying for those. But we know one thing: no matter what the design is, history cannot be left out from being inserted. So if we have the opportunity of doing those, we must take advantage of those. The second thing is this: we have a lot of archaeologists who have been calling on us, who've been working. They say they've been working for like 30, 40 years, 60 years. In fact, somebody said his grandfather did this piece of joy. They want to send this material, X, Y, and Z. All those are history. But we need a bunch of librarians who will sit down with these materials when they arrive and look at them. That's one. Two, everything we will do, from Providence to Popolu to Sapo to Palm Grove to Sino, everything would require a good part that will be engaged in tourism education for our people's good. And we can't run away from that part, which is our history, as rich as it is. But whatever you're doing, you need a budget.
Right.
Talk
I agree.
Whatever you do.
So just one last thing I'll say about that is this. We've had archaeologists at Providence Island. Archaeologists need to know the history. And a lot of times they don't.
I just said it.
So let me give you an example. I just want to, and this is just a point of information. So we had a project, I think Dr. Allen at the University of Liberia was working on the Providence Island group. And they put together a huge storyline for Providence Island. And they neglected the fact that that place was a slave barracoon. And that for me was a problem. So you only looking at it as this is a place where repatriated people were repatriated to temporarily in December of 1822. But you don't know that for a century before, it was a barracoon for enslaved people, a prison where they kept them before selling them to ships. That's completely out of the narrative because nobody researches before 1822 what was happening there. and there's documented history of that. So when you're designing, to me, in my opinion, the emphasis should also be on what happened before 1822 there, which is human beings were sold into chattel slavery and held captive right there in that Mesurado River on Gomez and Providence Islands. And that's well documented. And we need to also pay homage, or homage as we pronounce it, to people like William Tamba, who helped to liberate that place before, that's the year 1813. So before repatriation, William Tamba was present. He had been, a Kisi guy who was also a slave, but was rescued by the British and returned there to help to liberate that place. We don't know these stories. We can't plan and design properly around it. And the international people are not responsible to research our history. That's our job. That's our job. And we must be the ones leading the narrative and telling them what it is. That's all I'm saying. And if we don't do it, if we don't
Ownership.
bring in our Roger Zayus and our Dr. Patrick Burroughs, if we don't bring in our Dr. Herbert Brewers and Justine Cars and Dr. Cars and all these people, if we don't bring them to the table in the very early onset, we might make some mistakes and leave some things out. That's all I'm saying.
More likely to make mistakes. So, guys, the intent here today was to go till 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the show. Your party statement for the night. It was just a little short show because I know we won't have a full cast here tonight. And Honorable Nanuga, your party statement for tonight.
Papa, man, come here. I told you to
Merry Christmas across everybody. That's it for you.
What you know about Gil?
And I say,
hey, if we get greeting Gil, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's what I can do too. Even though,
let me tell you, the basic thing, like now you say it, man, you go, Kele, Fila, Saba, Nani, Bolu, Fila, and I come. Oh, I can do anything.
You can you count Gil?
No,
so I can chew my tongue, eat my teeth.
Your party statement for the night, Carl.
Yeah, thanks. I had a great time talking with you, and Chris, thanks for indulging my history conversation. Yes, I know Dwalo not doing history tonight, so I had to drag history into the conversation some kind of way. I had to force the history there. So
if you guys could shut the show out, I'll pass it over, but it's just what it is, God. We talk about a lot of things here tonight, Cole, and we appreciate it. And I agree with Cole, though, because at least if we have a panel of experts that fully understand, especially Liberia's history, that we can present a better case to foreigners that come to the country. Initially, most of you guys that were not here, we spoke about the family unit in Liberia, how we should organize our communities, the focus on the preservation of our customs and traditions in the society. Men must lead, women must play their role in the society. They must co-partners to develop the family unit in Liberia. We have no job against any pastor whatsoever, but we want the church to be a pillar of our society the way it's always been. It's a big part of our society. The mosque should be a pillar of our society. It's always been, and we should continue to push that further. Liberia has to be united. Whoever becomes president has to understand their job is to hold the cohesion of our society together and not create separation like we saw under the previous administration. If you did not sing Jaja or worship the deity that was created under the CDC administration, you were ostracized. So to a large extent, and we cannot have that in our society. And I believe President Bouaka is doing just that. He's doing everything he can to unite this country, whether you voted for him or whether you belong to another organization that does not support him, he does not care. He continues to say this is about Liberia today. This is not about me. I just want to lay the foundation that young people can come after me, inherit this country, and take Liberia to new heights. Call it higher heights, if you want to call it that. The roads are going to be connected. Electrification is happening. City like Bento are being electrified. The development is not restricted to Monrovia. It's going into the county. People are experiencing this. A brand new facility we're building in my county university for the new cafeteria was dedicated. Now, some people say, well, it is not the same thing as University of Minnesota. You know University of Minnesota budget? I get it. We want money to come to Liberia.
I graduated from there. I'll tell you.
Yes, thank you.
That was cool.
That your school. So obviously the cafeteria at University of Minnesota is not going to be the same at the cafeteria at University of Lofa University, but it is better than that nothing was there before. Obviously, we want more. I don't want anybody to misconstrue when we celebrate something here. That doesn't mean that's what we want. I've lived in the West most of my life. I understand what quality is. But if we were on a mall hut yesterday, now we're in a 3-bedroom, a 3-room facility made out of concrete that is got computer and lighting. That's progress. That doesn't mean that's what I want. I want an 8-lane thoroughfare leading from Minneapolis and going into another location into Fargo, North Dakota. I want super highways. We don't have that kind of money. But if we get paved road leading to the county capitals, that's progress because it was not there before. And that's what we are pushing for. And that's why, and I want all of us to want this. At the end of the day, let's want better for Liberia because Liberia does better, man. Yeah, just think about it. We all do better. We all do better. And that's something we all should continue to champion. To the audience, Merry Christmas. Love your wife. Love your husband. Love the children. Men, you must raise your boys if we're going to raise the kind of husbands we want in the country.
Say that again, Walu. Say it again.
Men must raise their boys. Raise their boys. It's important. And then women, you know your daughter then too. You got to. And look, we said this the last time we were on the show. Look, it's a different kind of feeling when men raise their daughters. You make them into the kind of woman you want. My daughter can eat over my age, she can make fire under over my age, but it's a different kind of feeling.
You're gonna give her husband a hard time because of you.
Yeah, it's a different kind of feeling. So you gotta raise our boys if we want proper husbands, the kind of husbands we want. And you know, ladies, at the end of the day, let's keep the Liberian family together. That means a lot to me, and I think it means a lot to all of us. Once again, man, thank you plenty.
Thanks, gentlemen. It was fun talking with you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, Liberia developing. This is the Class Reloaded, the #1 online show that brings the truth. Showcasing JMB and JKK progress all across the country.
The Class Reloaded, we are online every day. Showcasing progress the Liberian way.
Well,
JMB and JKK, they're making the way. The Class Reloaded, we're shining today. Hey. Oh.
From Monrovia City to the other counties, development talk shake the country. We talk the truth, we don't lie. The rescue mission making people smile. Roads getting better, schools better, electricity stable, no more hoping. We see the change, we see the light. Unity Party doing things right. Who talk the facts?
The Class Reloaded.
Who bring the vibe?
The Class Reloaded.
Support development.
The Class Reloaded.
Who better arise again? Oh yes we can. Who talk the facts?
The Class Reloaded.
Who bring the vibe?
The Class Reloaded.
Support development.
The Class Reloaded.
Who better arise again? Oh yes we can.
The Class Reloaded, we are online every day.
Every day.
Showcasing progress the Liberian way.
Well, JMB and JKK, they're making the way. The Class Reloaded, we shining today. Turn up the sound, let the people dance. Liberia progress, we get the chance. No fake news, we bring the proof. The Class Reloaded, always in the booth. From social media to the street corner, everybody talking about the new order. Respect to the hosts, they keeping it real. Liberia future, that's the deal. The Class Reloaded,
truth